guys, this is Sam. Welcome back to another episode of Failure is the Mother of Success. Funny, that's how we Chinese translate failure is success in process. And today we are pushing Kodak Gold 200 2 stops. Is this film pushable? Let's find out. My giant bow tie looks pretty distracting, huh? A few months back, we did a night portrait photo shoot. We tried to push CineStill 800T 2 stops. The result came out fairly good. Back then, from my understanding, I saw pushing film simply means when the lab developing your films, they will leave the film in the chemical longer so the film will turn out brighter. But according to my recent experiment, that's only partially true. So today, follow my failed experiment. I want to tell you a few things I wish I knew before I decide to push my film. Hopefully you won't make the same mistake I made, as usual. And first of all, what does pushing mean and why do you want to push your film? Let's say you want to shoot Acta 100 at night with no light, no tripod, and you're also drunk. You cannot hold the camera steady for the life of you, and the biggest aperture on your lens is f8. Alright, that might be a little extreme, but you see where I'm going. So you have no choice but to imagine you are shooting on Portrait 800. So you needed the shot at 800 ISO, then you're able to shoot it at handheld 1/60 of a second versus if you rate it at box speed of 100, you might have to handheld for 10-second long exposure. That's just not doable. I don't think my photo camera can catch this. Did that make the sounds even more confusing? So later, when you develop your film or when the lab is developing your film, they need to push it 3 stops because your film is technically underexposed for 3 stops. 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600, 3200. That's how you count full stop. So from 100 to 800, that's 3 stops. Do the math. So, why do you want to push your film? The most common answer would be there are not enough light for the speed of film you're using for a handheld shot. But if you don't have to increase the ISO for ideal shutter speed, pushing film could also be an artistic choice because by pushing film, the green, the contrast, sometimes the color of the film would also change. Let me try to explain. At first, I saw pushing film simply mean bring up the exposure evenly, but that's not entirely true. Let's imagine a frame of film is like a piece of newly seeded lawn. The light hitting the film like how water hitting the seeds. But since you live in California, your lawn never gets watered evenly. So by end of the day, some seeds become tall, nice grass. Some seeds become baby grass. But some seeds, since they never get hit by water, it remains seeds. And then the pushing process is you letting the lawn bathing in the sunlight to help the grass grow. And the tall grass will keep growing nice and tall. The baby grass will grow a little bit. But the seeds, since it never got hit by water, no matter how much sunlight you give it, it remains seeds. Does that make sense? Do you see where I'm going with this? So your highlight is your tall grass, your mid-tone is your baby grass, and your shadow is the seeds that never got hit by water. More sunlight hitting the lawn, bigger the difference you will see between the tall grass and the seeds. That means by pushing the film, you are big time increase the highlight, fairly bring up the mid-tone, and can't help much with the shadow. So, if we're planning on pushing the film 2 stops, when we took the shot, we already underexposed the highlight, the mid-tone, and the shadow by 2 stops. Very likely your shadow would be crashed. Means some part of the film is just too dark to contain any workable details to be able to bring up in the developing process. That's why pushing film will brighten up the highlight, bring up the midtone, and leave the shadow. That will increase the contrast and also increase the green. Because you're forcing the grass to grow and they lost their sanity, they're just greenier. I don't know if that makes sense. That does not make sense. But just, yeah, remember that. And that might be the most confusing way to explain pushing film. So, the whole thing being said, if you artistically want to make your film more contrasty, more grainy, you can push it. That's probably also why pushing black and white film is more popular than pushing color film. I haven't shot black and white film yet, so I don't really know. And that whole thing being said, those are also something I did not fully understand before I went down and did this photo shoot and tried to push Kodak Gold 200 two stops. It was a pretty cloudy day. I first shot a roll of Kodak 200 at box speed. Alright, this is our model Cindy. Alright, we're gonna start shooting. The weather is meh. Nothing special besides I missed focus for a bunch of shots. And the second row, I rate Kodak Gold 200 at 400. That's pushing one stop. Since it was a overcasting day, the light is pretty soft and even. There are a few shots came out slightly greenier, slightly more contrast, but I didn't notice too much of a difference. Yeah, right there, yeah. To be honest, I didn't quite like how the color turned out for some of these shots, but that might be the overcasting, lighting, and the environment altogether. It just looked a bit muddy and inconsistent. You 靠着树站呢？哎，对对对，就这样，就这样，这样，这样。And then for the third row, I was shooting it at ISO 800. That's pushing it two stops. This row came out totally different from what I expected. Alright, we're gonna shoot another Kodak Gold 120, but we're gonna push it two stops. We're gonna push it to 800. It's a bit dangerous, but we'll see. We're kind of running late by the time we start shooting this row, so I switched the camera from the Hasselblad to my Pentax 645. Hope to shoot it a little faster and a little more efficient. We found a staircase with some tungsten wall light. Through my human eye and through my behind-the-scene camera, it doesn't look too bad, right? But after I scanned the photo, what happened? The first couple of photos turned out all over the place. It's so dark. You can't even see her skirt. It just disappeared in the dark background. 是我肉眼看是好看的， 拍出来洗出来不是很敢保证。And it's so contrasty. We even lose some of the highlight on her shirt. This is what I mean earlier. The highlight is the crazy growing tall grass, and your shadow is the dead seed that never break out the dirt. And everything is obviously much more greenier. When I shot this photo, I mainly exposed for her face, so the background is just too dark to contain any information. I guess when your shadow is too stuff underexposed, it's just gone. And the Kodak Gold is a daylight balanced film. When shooting under tungsten light, it turned out very yellow. Since Kodak Gold is already a warm tone film stock to begin with, I think it's a little too yellow. Alright, we are done! Bye-bye! Bye-bye! Super nervous about the last row. For one, it's... Alright, it's... Whoops. This is obviously not my car. I don't even know how to operate. Super nervous about last row because I've never shot 200 at night and obviously never pushed 200 and things. So now we understand what happened to the film when pushing it. How can we get better results? Tip number 1, it's better to shoot a more evenly lit and a less contrasty light situation to preserve as much of a highlight and shadow as possible. And tip number 2, pay attention to the shadow and meter the difference between the shadow and the highlight and try to avoid unwanted dead shadow and dead highlight. And tip number 3, choose the film stock that has better latitude. Not all film will show the same quality after pushing. For example, pushing Portra 400 2 stops might look better than pushing Kodak Gold 2 stops. Just saying. Oh, and another thing you must know is that you have to shoot the whole row at the same rating and push the whole row together. You cannot only push certain frames. Like I want this shot to be pushed and leave everything else. It does not work like that. Thanks to our model today.
Cindy.
Cindy. Thanks to our model today, Cindy. And yeah, we'll see how it turned out. As I was writing the script, I was looking at these photos. I couldn't leave this video just end here with my tears and regrets. So I went back to the same location. I found the same model and I shot another row. Yeah, since last shoot, the photo didn't turn out quite as expected. So being the very stubborn me, we came back to the same location and I called the same model. Oops, called the same model. She's nice enough to come back here and we're gonna redo. The original plan was to shoot Portra 400 at 1600 ISO, pushing Portra 400 2 stops so I can see if Portra does push better than Kodak Gold. But when I get to the scene, I really just want to find out the limit of Kodak Gold 200. I want to see by understanding how pushing works if I could take better photos at the same location with the same film stock. So I shot another roll of Kodak Gold 200 at 800. I just want to see if this film is pushable. Before I shot it, I had the feeling that I won't like the result anyway. But for science, It's all for science. And let's look at the picture. So the first two photos, I have no idea what happened. I saw I metered for her face, but I might mismetered for the sky. No matter what, the contrast is just insane. It's just too much. 对，然后转向我。对。Alright, last time I think this light it's a little bit harsh. So I'm gonna try to bounce a little bit so we get a little evenly lit light. The staircase shot still lost all the details in the shadow, but at least the light on the model looks better this time. Yeah, right there. Oh, this shot turned out not too bad. But I think it's still a little bit too contrasty for me. And then I gave her an umbrella to diffuse the light and to reduce the contrast because the only light source we have is a overhead street light. But still, we still cannot help with the color shift. Did we mention color shift earlier? Yes, pushing film may also cause color shift, so be aware. This is kind of like shooting expired film now. Maybe Kodak Gold is not meant to be pushed to stops under such a low light situation. Or maybe I'm just a bad photographer. Would you try it? Would you try to push this film to stops? What do you think of the reshoot? Do you think we got better results the second run? Leave me a comment below, let me know. And also, if I said anything wrong in this video, please correct me. I'm not very good at explaining technical things, but I hope by sharing my experience and show you the bad photos I took will help you learn something about film photography. Keep making mistakes and keep learning from it. That's how we grow, right? And this is Sam. I will see you next time. Bye! And by the way, I finally changed my Instagram handle to match my channel name, sort of. I will leave a link down below. I will post my work there. Also, keep you guys updated with upcoming photo shoots, behind the scenes, some other stuff. And if you think this video is helpful, please click the like button. You will help this video to be seen by more people and consider subscribe. Okay, bye.